Anthropic just released Claude Design and it's going to be a game changer for SEO. In this video, we'll try out Claude Design together and see how we can leverage it to the max for SEO. If you want all the prompts that we discuss in this video, drop in the comments Claude and I'll send all of them for free. Now let's get into the video. So Anthropic just came out with Claude Design on April 17th, and from the name of it, it might seem like to you that it, as the name suggests, is Claude Design, so it may be for designers, but that could be very far from the truth. And in this video I'll show you exactly how as SEOs we can leverage it quite a bit. So what I've done is I put together a very detailed prompt on how I am going to use it for SEO and what are the things that it could be used for. So the very first thing that I used it for is actually designing service area pages or money pages as we call it. So let's assume you own a roofing company in Austin, Texas, and the main pages that actually generate leads, the most amount of leads for you, is service area pages. So what exactly is a service area page? Basically searching for things like roof repair or roof replacement in Austin. So that is what I call as a service area page, and these are the terms that will generate the most amount of leads for you. Now generally for any local business owners, these are the pages that are the most difficult to create and you don't exactly know how to create those pages. So this is a very detailed prompt that we have put together, and what it is going to do, it's going to ask Claude Design. And before we jump into it, you have to go to claude.ai/design and then it will open a whole thing for you. So what I've done is, and instead of just boring you with the whole prompt, this is a very detailed prompt as you can see it. So if I just exit it here, you can see this is a very detailed prompt, and it's a two-part prompt as you can see. The first part is this, and then once you give it that, then the second part is the follow-up prompt. So when you give the follow-up prompt, it refines the output by a lot. So give it the first part and then give the follow-up prompt. I want to take a look at the output first and then I'll show you what exactly the prompt does. So what it is doing is it creates an HTML page on roof replacement in Lakeway, Texas, for example, and you can see how well it has put together the page, and it has all of the things that a local landing page should have, like things like elements of how many reviews you have and all of this data. Obviously this is a sample data it is taking just for this use case, but you can give it your Google business profile and it will pull all of the data directly from your Google business profile. So everything here would be exactly based on your business, no hallucination. All of the images, you can even give it a Google Drive with your images, or you can directly give Claude Design all of the images that you want it to use on the page, and then it is actually pinpointing what is different from maybe East Austin or different parts of the regions that you serve, and it is pointing out why that area is different from other areas, which is something I keep saying on and on, that each service area page must have unique things about that location. Generally what most business owners would do is they'll just give a prompt to something like Claude or ChatGPT and ask it to come up with a service area page for all of the locations that they have, and it will come out with templated pages for all of those locations with the same text, with the same heading, same subsections, and then Google would not index those pages and it would not rank those pages because everyone is doing the same stuff, and Google has very limited capacity now to index all of these AI junk. Here on the other hand, if you see, it is so much more detailed. It is telling exactly why Lakeway is very different from something like an East Austin and what are the different scenarios there, and it is also putting in a quote there, all of the images. I think the images could be better, but I just told from an images perspective to Claude to just use the images as placeholder now, and I'll give it the images later, but with the right images I'm very certain it could be done much more better. The next thing is you can see it is adding so much more details and everything there. Then it is again adding so much more relevant details. I don't want to get into all of that, but this is far from just a generic service area page that any other AI would generate, particularly ChatGPT for that matter. It will give you very simple thing. Before we jump into all of the more details, why Claude Design is also very interesting. You have this tweaks button and you can change all of the color, accent, color things directly from there. So if you're a person who does not like orange as something here, so you can just directly click and on one button you can change the accent color to teal, to rust ballet, could be inline or badges and all of that. These are the things you can change directly from here without even doing anything. Then there are things like you can draw directly on it, and this drawing part you can then comment here and ask Claude to make changes, which is a huge time saver and it makes your life so much more easier. So if you were doing this in ChatGPT or in other coding tools, you had to just copy that part and you have to paste it there and tell it to make those changes. Now you can draw here, and even if you have to send it to someone else within your team, you can very easily quickly draw from here and do all of that stuff. You can see it in different things, and you can also present this if you're presenting this to maybe your team or someone, add comments, all of that can be done, and you can just discard this drawing as well from here. So this, from an SEO perspective, creating all of those pages, and this is just one part of how I'm going to use this into my day-to-day SEO things, which is creating pages. There are so many more use cases, such as creating statistics pages, using this for guest posting, creating the content around it. It would just transform the way we use SEO on a day-to-day basis. But since it has just came out, I'm still playing around it. I think a lot of the prompts that I already have, they can be modified just a bit more to use with Claude Design, and I'm sure it will give us a lot better output. Then you can see the whole page has been designed from this perspective. It has all of the FAQ section, and the FAQ section also adds that whether it's a very local question in general, all of that stuff is there. It also generated a few different variations of pages for me, so you can select the kind of design you like. These were not completed because I stopped them in between, but if there is a particular style or design that you liked more, you can ask it that okay, mimic that particular style, or actually come up with a new design altogether. It can do everything for you from that perspective. So yes, that is great that I am looking at. This is just one thing. Another one that I was looking at, that I put together a prompt for, this is an output I'm yet to run on because it's going to take a while to run, and I wanted to get this video out so you can try it for yourself. If you have a statistics page, so something like Roofers Guild has a statistics page on insane roofing statistics, for example, and let's assume you have come up with some roofing statistics, and what you can do is you can use this prompt and give that stats page to Claude Design, and it can come up with a really nice looking infographic or an HTML page that you can just throw onto your website. And this will add so much SEO value because Google really likes unique content. But even if you're doing all of the research and you're putting in all of the stats, what is going to happen is if the page is not really good looking, it's not very interactive, if people cannot click around, and what it does is, like what I'm trying to say is, Google actively tracks Chrome user signals, right? So if the UX is not good, people would click the back button, and then even if the content on the page is gold, it will not rank and it will not give you the credibility. Similarly, those stats page attracts so much amount of backlinks coming to your website. That will also not happen because if it's not a good looking page, if it's not an interactive and UI friendly page, people would not really interact with it, and then because of that, it will not get the kind of attraction. But with Claude Design, all of that changes because you do not need to be knowing coding, you do not need to have a developer. You can throw in, and especially with the prompt that I mentioned here, and you can see, let me just show you that here you are acting as a senior SEO strat. Then we are also mentioning the input that is there. This is the input of the page, and it's what it is about, what is our primary keyword, and in the phase one it is going to read the data as a data journalist. So it has to first make sense of the data. That is also very, very important. A lot of the AIs would just simply take that data and it will just present it in whatever format. What happens is, because it does not make sense of the data, the output is just a good looking infographic, but the contents of the infographic is not good. That is why I'm ensured that from a very, very understanding point of view, it reads the data like a data journalist, fetches the URL, and does not skim but actually extract every concrete statistic. All of the prompts that I create is very detailed, so you actually get a very clean output. And like I said, you can always comment Claude in within the videos in the comment section, and you'll get the access to all of these prompts. And then it also self critiques the design that it made, the data that it collected, all of that thing is already going to happen, and then it gives the output to you. So do run this in Claude Design as well and let me know how the output turns out to be. But yes, Claude Design is definitely going to transform the way I work with SEO. All of my prompts I'm going to iterate it to work really well with Claude Design, and you will get all of those prompts for free. Anyway, if you got some value from this one, hit the like button. It really helps the channel grow. Drop a comment below with any of your questions. I read each comment and try and reply to each one of your questions with a very detailed answer. So make sure you drop your questions in the comments below. And subscribe if you want more AI and SEO related content every week. By the way, we took one business from $0 to $1.7 billion in revenue just through SEO in 11 months. If you want results like that for your business, link to book a call with us at Alventra Marketing is in the description. See you in the next one.